What's pop, y'all? Just when you think things couldn't get worse, they somehow always manage to get worse. In the case of NBA YoungBoy, you've got somebody who was already had a federal case, which as the details were coming out, more and more people were saying, hey, there's a good chance that he gets off on this case. If you guys remember, I think the case was called like Never Free Again. They named it something outrageous, and it was a federal gun charge. It was a mess. So I don't know like the complete legal specifics to say whether or not he was going to get out, but what ended up happening was they decided to give him house arrest, and at the time he was on Atlantic Records, and they did the most to get him out. They were like, hey, look, we'll put up this amount of money, we'll have him with a detail in a random city in a state where no other rappers are really at, Utah, and we'll make sure that he's always there and he doesn't go anywhere else. So that's what happened. For the past couple of years, NBA YoungBoy has been in what he calls now Gravedigger Mountain in Utah, kicking it. So you would think, all right, this guy's far away from any rapper. There's pretty much not government officials, but there's people constantly checking in on him. He's got an ankle monitor. No way he can be doing crime, right? Well, allegedly, he may be doing a whole bunch of new crime. So the recent arrest that he got, which were for accusing him of operating a large-scale drug prescription fraud ring in Utah. Yes, you heard that correctly. Also, I think what happened while he was in Utah was Mayweather's daughter, who's one of YoungBoy's baby mamas, got like an attempted murder charge for stabbing another one of YoungBoy's girlfriends. I think this guy's just, it can't be him. Of course not. It's just bad luck follows him everywhere. That's just what it has to be. So what they said is he was getting promethazine, and there were a bunch of different numbers that were calling him that said they had different patient names. Any name from Bethel White, Gwendolyn Cox, and another name. And what they said was Gwendolyn Cox was a fake voice, and the suspect had a southern accent. And it's so funny because even when trying to do crime, he couldn't act the part. He said this Gwendolyn woman was using axed instead of asked, and she'll have him call me. And this is, not only is it improper English, but someone would say, hey, this is an accent that would come from a certain region of the U.S., and that region is not Utah. So he gets arrested, and they arrest him. They ask him, hey, one of the questions they ask him is, hey, this gun, it doesn't belong to you, but have you been touching it? And he admits that he might have moved it around, which he's not supposed to do because he's a felon, so he can't legally own a gun, but his wife is allowed to own a gun, so that's a bit of a nonsense. But the whole thing with this situation is people were saying that YoungBoy was on drugs. It looked like he was on drugs, and it ended up being that he was actually on drugs. Some people thought he was just smoking cigarettes, but the way that he was behaving led to people thinking that. And keep in mind, he was already on the, not parole, not probation. He was already out on bail, on bond, for a case that he was supposed to be locked up for this entire time. So now a federal judge is saying that he should be taken into federal custody after this Utah arrest. And I put out this tweet, and keep in mind, this guy got 63 charges of forgery, identity fraud, and procuring prescription drugs. So it's probably lean and some pills. But from what I've read, it's just lean, which is gotta be pretty hard to get in the area of Utah that he's in. And we also gotta wonder, will any of these girls that were involved with this tell on YoungBoy? I don't know if one of them is his wife that's actually involved in the prescription fraud. I think she just owned the gun, which is completely legal for her to own the gun. But I sent out a tweet saying YoungBoy and Kodak Black are two people that are in a race for someone who likes freedom least. But I say that as a joke. I don't think that's the actual case. I think these guys just don't think. Or we have to understand that there are certain people that do not think before they do anything. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, man, I'm a millionaire. If you were YoungBoy, right? You're probably thinking, okay, I'm a millionaire. I'm relatively young. I'm already facing this case that, who knows, I think they were trying to give him 10 plus years for. You're going to be on the straight and try not to do anything illegal while you're out there. And what happens? He does something illegal. So I don't think YoungBoy is thinking, okay, so the potential of me getting caught is this % chance, and if I do get caught, I might be screwed, and I'm going to do it anyway and risk that. I don't think he's thinking like that. I think him and Kodak Black, they just don't think. Because if you guys remember, Kodak Black got in trouble for forging paperwork to get a gun. Like, he went to an actual legal gun store. He's not allowed to own a gun. He faked some paperwork to get a gun. That was one of his charges. Most people with half a brain wouldn't do that, but Kodak Black did it. I just think These people may be talented musically, but that doesn't mean that they have the capacity to think through their decisions. And I wouldn't say they got away scot-free with anything. YoungBoy has done a bunch of time, and he has been locked in a mountain for years. It can't be fun up there. No matter how much money you have, just to be isolated like that. He's had people come in for interviews and stuff. But the problem with this is, normally you would say, okay, this person's screwed. He's about to do time for a while. But that's the same thing you would normally think for a regular person for the past 5 or so charges that he's had. So for me, I just feel like with this YoungBoy situation, logically in my head, I'm like, okay, all of these charges, someone might tell on him that's involved in this. Obviously, of course, the pharmacists and all of those people are going to cooperate in whichever way they can. There's the other case. There's still a part of me that feels like, nah, they're going to give him bail and he might not even do time. Just because of the history of what's been going on. Kodak Black got a lifeline from Trump for that pardon. Otherwise, he probably would have gotten out of jail this year or maybe last year. He would have sat there for a long time in prison. So he got saved by that, but then he had to go back in, and then he got out. He's got a really good lawyer. But I will say Kodak Black hasn't done anything to the level that YoungBoy just did, which is this whole like faking prescription thing. It's a huge deal. Ever since the whole like opioid thing, this stuff is hard to get now in comparison to back then. It's unfortunate to see, but nobody should be blamed for this. Nobody should be like, oh man, his manager should have kept watch of him. Oh, the people around him, how could they do this? Why would these girls participate in this? There is nobody that deserves responsibility for this but YoungBoy. He is the only one. Can we even say like there's some like addiction element to it? Because by the time he got to the mountain, hadn't he already been in jail for a long time without these drugs? So he would have gone through withdrawals already. And obviously, like, even if somebody hadn't done drugs for months, if they're addicted, they're going to like want them again. But when there's so many roadblocks in front of you to get them, people that were addicted have way less money than YoungBoy and way less roadblocks to prevent them from getting this stuff than YoungBoy, and they still don't go back. So for YoungBoy to go back to this, it's like, man, is he just bored? Does he think? That's my question. Does he think? That's all I want to know. I don't want to know why he did it. I want to know what was going through your mind when you decided to do this. That's what I want to know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is YoungBoy cooked, or do you think he just beats this case? How? Or do you think they give him bond for this? Or bail? Because he already messed up. And if they lock him up, who knows when his trial starts? That's the thing. Well, the Melly trial started and finished, and it's like now supposed to start again. But Melly was waiting for 5 years before the trial even started. This is a whole mess. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.